Chances are, all I will. Too much, too little, too late to ever try again.
I come from San Francisco. It's not unusual to be gay in San Francisco.
At 89, Johnny Mathis has confirmed the shocking rumor that nearly destroyed his career. When he casually revealed he was gay, the backlash was so vicious, he received death threats from his own fans.
He get help.
And so she sent me to a place called Havre de Grace in Maryland. I was there with a bunch of Jesuit priests. I had 3 weeks of finding out why I drank.
That single confession forced Johnny to deny his own words and disappear from public life for years. But the path to that life-changing confession began long before anyone knew Johnny Mathis's name. So, let's get into it.
My dad was my best pal, and he also sang, and that's why I sing.
Johnny Mathis grew up in Gilmer, Texas, as one of 7 children. His parents, Clem and Mildred, made their living as cooks, but Clem had another passion: music. He could sing and play piano, and when he noticed Johnny's natural talent, he knew what he had to do.
And so
he was my pal. I could tell him anything, and I did. I told him.
Clem saved up $25 and bought an old piano for the house. Johnny started learning from his father right away, while his parents became his biggest supporters. They even ran his fan club from their home. The first song Johnny mastered was My Blue Heaven, and soon he was performing anywhere people would listen: family gatherings, school events, and church services.
My dad had a wonderful, wonderful way about accepting things as they are.
When Johnny turned 13, he met voice teacher Connie Cox, who made him an unusual offer. She would teach him proper singing technique if he helped her with housework around her place. Johnny agreed, and for the next 6 years, he studied under her guidance.
Kind to me and gave me voice lessons for free of charge, but she also did it with several other entertainers who became very popular.
Connie taught Johnny everything about voice control, different singing styles, and how to command a stage. During high school, Johnny joined a band that his friend Merle Saunders had started, giving him his first real taste of performing for audiences. Johnny never forgot that opportunity and thanked Merle for it years later. One evening, Johnny was performing at a small jazz club in San Francisco when fate stepped in. Helen Noga, who helped manage the club, heard his voice and was blown away. She immediately decided to become his manager and started working to get him noticed around town, finding him weekend gigs at other venues. Helen learned that George Avakian, a big-shot producer from Columbia Records, was visiting San Francisco. She kept calling him until he finally agreed to come hear Johnny perform. After listening to just one song, George was impressed and sent a telegram to his company saying he'd found a young singer who could become a star. Johnny's father gave him simple advice: focus on the music.
It had to end this way. No.
Johnny Mathis had built his career on romantic ballads that made people fall in love, but he was hiding something that could destroy it all. In the early 1980s, being gay in America wasn't just taboo, it was career suicide for entertainers.
In 1982, this was famous, you told Us magazine, this was the quote, "Homosexuality is a way of life that I've grown accustomed to," and then that statement was...
The entertainment industry demanded that celebrities keep their private lives completely hidden, especially anything related to homosexuality. One admission could end decades of hard work and success in an instant. For years, fans wondered about Johnny's love life because he never discussed dating anyone publicly. His songs were filled with passion and romance, but he never revealed whether they were inspired by men or women. Most people didn't think too much about it. Johnny focused on his music and stayed away from personal topics during interviews. Then came the moment that changed everything. During what seemed like a routine magazine interview, Johnny casually mentioned that being gay was just part of who he was.
I come from San Francisco. It's not unusual
No.
to be gay.
He didn't make it into some big revelation or press announcement, but those few words were enough to unleash a storm. Angry letters poured in from fans across the country, especially from conservative areas. Some people sent death threats because they couldn't accept that their favorite romantic singer was gay.
Being different. It bothered me that it
The backlash terrified Johnny, and he quickly pulled back from public appearances. He started doing fewer interviews and tried to stay out of the spotlight as much as possible. He didn't want to discuss his personal life anymore, and for many years after that, he rarely brought up his sexuality again. Later in his life, he would occasionally address it, but he always treated it as just one small part of who he was, rather than making it the focus of attention. Johnny also faced serious problems with his home life during this period. In 2015, he returned from a concert in Ohio to discover that his house had burned down completely. He had lived in that same house for 56 years, so losing it was devastating. Even though it broke his heart, he rebuilt the house in the exact same spot.
Legendary singer Johnny Mathis is dealing with major damage to his beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills after a fire tore through it tonight.
But disaster struck again in 2023 when heavy storms triggered a massive landslide near his property. The ground gave way, crushing a car with mud and debris while cutting off all the utilities to his home. Johnny couldn't even return to his house for weeks.
One-story home. Right now, from the outside, you don't see a lot of damage, but inside it is extensive.
Johnny's troubles weren't limited to natural disasters. During one trip to Las Vegas, he became the victim of an unprovoked attack that left everyone stunned. The incident started when a casino card dealer named Charles Walsh claimed that Johnny had insulted his wife, Helen, who worked as a cocktail waitress at the hotel. Walsh was so angry about this supposed insult that he walked up to Johnny and punched him without warning. Johnny insisted he had never said anything inappropriate to the woman and had no idea why he was being attacked. The whole thing came completely out of nowhere. After getting hit, Johnny was shaken and scared but didn't try to fight back. Instead, he immediately left Las Vegas, caught the first flight to Los Angeles, and checked into a motel to recover. Eventually, he made his way to his manager, Helen Noga's house in Beverly Hills, where she refused to let any reporters near him. Helen Noga told the press that Johnny was still traumatized by what had happened and needed time to recover. She emphasized that Johnny wasn't a violent person. He was an artist, not a fighter. She also revealed that Johnny had a spinal condition that made the attack especially dangerous, and that he had actually begged Walsh not to hit him because even one blow could cause serious injury. Despite being the victim of an assault, Johnny decided not to press charges or take any legal action. He just wanted the whole incident to disappear and move on with his life. Helen hoped that people would forget about it quickly, so Johnny could focus on his music career again. The attack surprised fans because Johnny was known for his gentle personality and smooth voice. Nobody expected him to be involved in something so violent and ugly.
One of entertainment's most legendary singers opens up about his new music and how a place in Maryland helped him to kick addiction.
Behind the scenes, Johnny was fighting battles that almost destroyed him. Like many entertainers, he struggled with serious addiction problems involving both alcohol and drugs. These weren't easy fights, but with help from the right people, he managed to overcome them. At first, Johnny didn't think his drinking was anything unusual. The entertainment world revolved around parties and events where alcohol flowed freely, so everyone was drinking constantly. It seemed completely normal and harmless at the time. But gradually, Johnny found himself drinking more and more until what started as social fun became something he needed just to feel normal. The problem crept up on him slowly until he realized he couldn't control it anymore. His drinking was starting to interfere with his career, and he knew something had to change. But breaking free from addiction isn't simple, even when you know you need help. One of Johnny's closest friends was Nancy Reagan. the former First Lady who became famous for her Just Say No anti-drug campaign. She played a crucial role in helping Johnny recognize that he had a serious problem. One day, while they were spending time together and Johnny was drinking, Nancy gently suggested that he might need to address his relationship with alcohol.
Get help.
And so she sent me to a place called Havre de Grace in Maryland. I was there with a bunch of Jesuit priests. I had 3 weeks of finding out.
With Nancy's encouragement, Johnny made the difficult decision to enter a rehabilitation center called Havre de Grace in Maryland.
For more than 30 years, people have been traveling here to Havre de Grace for treatment, tackling their addiction, transforming their life.
The facility specialized in helping people overcome addiction through intensive programs that addressed both the physical and psychological aspects of dependency. Johnny spent 3 weeks there, learning about why he drank and developing strategies to stay sober. He also met other people going through similar struggles, which helped him realize that addiction can affect anyone, regardless of their success or fame.
Finding out why I drank, how I could stop. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
This wasn't Johnny's first encounter with substance abuse problems. Back in the 1960s, he had faced a different but equally dangerous situation. While performing at the famous Copacabana nightclub in New York, Johnny lost his voice completely. Someone recommended a doctor named Max Jacobson, who was notorious for giving miracle shots to celebrities and politicians, including members of the Kennedy family. Johnny started receiving these injections, which seemed to restore his voice almost immediately. What he didn't know was that the shots contained powerful amphetamines and other dangerous drugs. Over time, Johnny became addicted to these substances, which gave him artificial energy, but were slowly destroying his health. The situation got so bad that he ended up hospitalized. It was a wake-up call that forced him to quit the drugs completely and find healthier ways to maintain his voice and energy.
I believe we can be more sensitive to the needs of our fellow man, that we can be better.
In December 2022, Johnny found himself at the center of an unexpected controversy involving one of his most beloved Christmas songs. Several radio stations in the United Kingdom decided to censor part of When a Child is Born, which had been a massive hit back in 1976 and spoke about hope and unity during the Christmas season.
And the spirit of Christmas is a joyous reminder of our responsibility.
The problem centered around one specific line where Johnny sang, "Black, white, yellow, no one knows." The message was meant to show that the newborn child could be any race, emphasizing that skin color doesn't matter when it comes to love and acceptance. However, some modern listeners found the word yellow offensive when used to describe people of Asian descent.
Black, white, yellow, no one knows.
The decision to edit the song sparked heated debates across the country. Many people argued that the censorship was completely unnecessary because the song's message was actually about inclusion and unity, not racism. They pointed out that Johnny, as a black artist, was trying to spread a message of universal love and acceptance that transcended racial boundaries. Fans were particularly upset about changing a classic Christmas song that had brought joy to people for decades. Some listeners complained that radio stations were going too far by altering songs from different eras, instead of understanding them in their historical context. One fan summed up the frustration by saying that people should leave Christmas alone and leave Johnny Mathis alone. The controversy raised bigger questions about whether old songs should be modified to match contemporary sensibilities. Some people believe that updating language prevents offense in modern times, while others argue that changing artistic works erases important historical context and artistic intent. The debate continues, but the song remains a Christmas favorite for millions of people around the world.
Throughout most of my athletic career, I was in agony. So I was looking for an excuse to finish with it, and the singing came along, and that was kind of nice.
Helen Noga never intended to become a music manager, but destiny had other plans for her. a college student from San Francisco State University brought his friend Johnny to a jam session at the Black Hawk, one of the city's hottest jazz clubs. The moment Helen heard Johnny's voice, she knew she was witnessing something extraordinary, a talent unlike anything she had ever experienced. Without hesitation, Helen decided to take control of Johnny's career and got him signed to a management contract. Soon after, Johnny recorded his debut album, Johnny Mathis, A New Sound in Popular Song, with Columbia Records.
But I feel so gay in a melancholy way that it might as well be spring.
The album was an immediate success, proving that Johnny's career was destined for greatness. Everything had started with that single performance at the Black Hawk, and even though the club eventually closed down, it would always hold a special place in music history as the birthplace of Johnny Mathis's legendary career. As Johnny's popularity grew, bigger opportunities started coming his way. In June 1957, he appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, the most influential television program of its time.
The best of everything.
This appearance introduced Johnny to millions of viewers across America and launched him into true stardom. That same year, he released Chances Are, which became his second million-selling single and established him as a major force in popular music.
Chances are.
Later that year, Johnny recorded Wild is the Wind for the movie of the same name. The song was so powerful and moving that it earned an Academy Award nomination, and Johnny performed it at the Oscar ceremony in March 1958, cementing his status as one of America's premier entertainers. Just before that incredible moment, Johnny achieved something that would define his entire career. The album stayed on the Billboard charts for 490 weeks, which is almost 9.5 years. No album had ever stayed on the charts that long, and the record stood until Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon surpassed it 15 years later. Johnny also made his mark in Hollywood during this period. In 1958, he appeared in the film A Certain Smile and performed the title song, which also received an Academy Award nomination. By the end of that year, Johnny was earning around $1 million annually, making him one of the highest-paid entertainers in America. People started calling him the Velvet Voice because of his incredibly smooth and romantic singing style. Johnny continued releasing hit after hit during the early 1960s. In 1962, he scored major successes with both Gina,
Gina,
and What Will Mary Say?
what will my Mary say?
His financial success matched his artistic achievements. That same year, Ebony magazine recognized him as one of the wealthiest Black Americans in the country. Johnny had transformed himself from a kid from Texas into a genuine superstar. However, success came with its own challenges. In 1964, Johnny found himself in a bitter legal fight with his manager Helen over their contract. When the dispute was finally resolved, Johnny decided to take complete control of his career by starting his own companies, John Matt Records for his music and Rojan Productions for his live performances and television appearances. He partnered with Ray Hahn, who helped manage his business affairs until Ray's death in 1984. Today, greatest hits albums are everywhere in the music industry, but most people don't know that Johnny Mathis created the very first one. In 1958, Johnny's Greatest Hits was released and completely changed how record companies thought about packaging and selling music. The album came about almost by accident. Johnny was gaining popularity with songs like It's Not For Me To Say.
It's not for me to say.
When he got an opportunity to tour the United Kingdom, Columbia Records wanted him to record new material before leaving, But Johnny was too busy with tour preparations. That's when label head Mitch Miller came up with a revolutionary idea. Instead of forcing Johnny to record new songs, why not compile his best existing singles into one album and call it Johnny's Greatest Hits? By the late 1970s, Johnny was struggling to maintain his position on the pop charts as musical tastes shifted toward different styles. His last major hit had been years earlier, and younger audiences weren't connecting with his romantic ballad style. Johnny and his producer Jack Gold knew they needed to try something completely different to revitalize his career. They decided to collaborate with Denise Williams, a rising R&B singer who could bring fresh energy to Johnny's music. Together, they recorded Too Much, Too Little, Too Late.
Too much, too little, too late to ever try again.
Ironically, Denise didn't initially believe in the song and thought it wasn't strong enough for release. But when it hit the airwaves, it became a massive hit and reached #1 on the charts, something Johnny had never achieved before in his solo career. The success was so overwhelming that they quickly recorded an entire album of duets called That's What Friends Are For, which included another hit song, You're All I Need to Get By. This collaboration with Denise Williams gave Johnny a completely new lease on his career. He went on to record the theme song for the popular television show Family Ties. The song, called Without Us, became one of his most recognizable tracks. The music world was changing rapidly, and Johnny found himself caught in the shift. New musical styles were taking over, and younger audiences wanted something completely different from what Johnny offered. The Beatles and other rock bands dominated the charts with loud, energetic music that made Johnny's soft, romantic ballads seem outdated. The entire industry was moving toward rock albums and away from the traditional pop music that had made Johnny famous. This transformation made it incredibly difficult for him to maintain his position at the top of the charts. Even though he continued making music and performing for his loyal fans, his songs weren't reaching the same massive audiences they once had. Rock music pushed Johnny's style into the background as younger listeners gravitated toward electric guitars and high-energy performances. His smooth, gentle singing style was no longer the main attraction in popular music. Still, Johnny kept working and never gave up hope that he could find a way back to mainstream success. That breakthrough finally came in the late 1970s. In 1976, his Christmas song, When a Child is Born, became a #1 hit in the United Kingdom, reminding people of his incredible talent. Then, in 1978, Too Much, Too Little, Too Late, with Denise Williams became a massive hit in the United States, reaching #1 and becoming popular in the UK and Canada as well.
Too much, too little, too late to ever try again.
Following this success, Johnny recorded duets with several other major artists, including Dionne Warwick, Natalie Cole, and Gladys Knight. These collaborations helped keep him visible in the music world and showed that he could still create relevant, appealing music. He also recorded a follow-up duet with Denise Williams called You're All I Need to Get By. And while it wasn't as successful as their first collaboration, it proved that Johnny was still making quality music. In the early 1980s, Johnny's voice became familiar to television audiences when he performed the theme song for Family Ties. His soft, emotional delivery was perfect for the show's family-centered themes, and the song became beloved by viewers across America. Johnny never stopped performing, even as he got older. While he reduced his touring schedule somewhat, he still performed around 50 to 60 concerts each year. Unlike many other singers who performed with backing tracks or small bands, Johnny always traveled with a full orchestra, ensuring that his audiences experienced the rich, beautiful sound that had made him famous.
It had to end this way. No.
When Johnny wasn't performing, he had two major passions that kept him busy. Golf became a huge part of his life after he discovered it somewhat late. He was staying at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas in 1965 when he first picked up a golf club. From that moment on, he was completely hooked on the sport.
As a matter of fact, I started playing golf, I guess, about 9 years ago, out of boredom.
Oh, beautiful, Johnny. Beautiful.
Johnny approached golf with the same dedication he brought to his music. He joined 3 different golf clubs in Los Angeles and played approximately 300 rounds per year, which meant he was on the golf course almost every single day. This intense practice made him an exceptionally skilled player.
Johnny, they say that if you'd wanted to be, you could have been a professional golfer. Is that true?
Not at all. No,
Is that a lie?
Yes, it's a...
The most impressive demonstration of Johnny's golf skills is that he has achieved 9 hole-in-ones throughout his golfing career. For those who don't play golf, a hole-in-one means hitting the ball directly from the tee into the hole with just one shot. Something most golfers never accomplish even once in their entire lives. Johnny's other major passion was cooking, which connected him to his family roots. Both of his parents had worked as professional cooks, and Johnny learned their techniques by watching them work when he was young. Unlike many wealthy celebrities who hire private chefs, Johnny genuinely enjoyed preparing his own meals and would spend hours in the kitchen creating elaborate dishes. Even when traveling, Johnny would seek out hotels with kitchen facilities so he could continue cooking his own food rather than relying on room service or restaurants. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Bye.